What a game. What a game. The Dallas Mavericks defense, Luka Doncic. I guess that's what we got to say to start this. I do want to say Russell Westbrook and Terrence Mann, like frustration really boiled over for them as the game went on. And I feel like that was something that played a huge factor in this one as for why they eventually, lost it. And I truly thought this was a game that was huge for whoever was going to win this series. I think this swings momentum. I do think this is a 6 or 7 game series. But Paul George has 7 points, Kawhi Leonard at 9, Zubats at 19, James Harden at 21, Trey Mann at 2, 7 from Plumlee, Westbrook had a point. You had 21 from Norman Powell. And it was so bad that PJ Boston made an appearance. PJ Washington, Derek Jones, Daniel Gafford have instilled this defensive effort out of Luka Doncic, and I feel like it's because his team is playing such good defense. And it's not just those guys, but then you have Kleba, you have Derek Lively, Josh Green, Dante Exum. To the point that Luka and Kyrie are the weakest links on the floor. And I don't think Kyrie cares that much about putting it being a lockdown defender. But Luka being the younger guy and seeing his teammates play defense and him realizing now that he's the worst defensive person on the floor. And to the point that not just him being the worst defensive player on the floor, but that he's being pointed. The coaches are pointing at him. The players are pointing at him. He's being, the guy who's mismatched hunted. How the same way he does that on the other end. So I think that instills this fire, this desire to want to play better on defense, to put more in effort. Either draw a charge, stay in front of your guy, and that's why over the last few games, Luka has been playing extremely well on defense. And I mean, this has been something over the last several weeks that's been happening, but it's much more evident now that it's playoffs. And I really do believe it's because, it's his teammates, and his teammates are doing it, and Luke is feeding off of it, and he doesn't want to be the liability, and he's never really been that guy in that position because he's never been on such a good defensive squad since coming to the NBA. So as a result, he really is trying to put up the best performance that he can, so his teammates know that they can rely on him and that he's not gonna, be their kryptonite in an ironic way. So I feel like that's a huge part in this. And I mean, not just that. I mean, when you yourself shoot 45% on 86 attempts from the field, but go 26 from 3 at the opposing team, I mean, they really only hit one more 3. I think the biggest thing right here was there wasn't many free throws. There wasn't a huge discrepancy in the rebounding battle. The Mavericks actually lost the rebounding battle. What the Mavericks did was the Mavericks were able to take control of this game, not let go. I mean, going into half, it was 54-41 Mavs, and they just never looked back. They just didn't let the Clippers hit as many field goals. The Clippers attempted 70 shots, man. 70 shots. That's absurd. It's like they weren't shooting. And a lot of the time was because they either were turning the ball over. They had 20 turnovers. Yeah, the Mavs were able to force 20 turnovers on the Clippers. So I think that was a big part of it. And just forcing them to not be able to, keep the ball on the floor consistency. And the Mavs were holding the ball for a lot of the time. It was a very sloppy game by the Clippers, if we are going to be quite frank. But I thought it was a valiant defensive. I think it was a better defensive effort that frustrated the Clippers so much that they just started playing sloppy basketball. And they just stopped shooting the ball. And I really would not be surprised if the Mavs were able to go ahead and win, another game, go up 3-1. Would the Clippers implode out of frustration? This is a high personality team, and I wouldn't be surprised if frustrations begin to boil over. But that's it. It was a good effort by the Mavs, and again, I've said this for a while. The Mavs are the dark horse team.